Since it was passed in 2018, journalists and media experts have warned that Bangladesh's Digital Security Act could be open to abuse. Those warnings grew louder after the death in custody of journalist Mushtaq Ahmed. Photojournalist Shafiqul Islam Kajol was detained for almost 2 months over social media posts.
I was arrested and taken to prison, and it's said in the news that I went missing. You know what happened. In fact, I do not want to go back to that context, and you also have an idea why I don't want to. I cannot speak the truth about what happened.
Journalists in Bangladesh already come under pressure from both the government and opposition. The Digital Security Act increased the risk of arrest, with over 50 journalists charged under it in the first half of 2020.
This digital security law is enforced more on journalists in the outskirts of Dhaka, and there were many instances where journalists have been harassed for speaking the truth.
International media organizations and local journalists say provisions in the law mean it could be used to impede journalism and have called on the government to repeal it.
We have demanded changes in the Digital Security Act so that journalists or any other person who expresses their opinion in any form can be ensured of security from law enforcement. The non-bailable clause needs to be changed, and at the same time, no one can misuse it.
The Committee to Protect Journalists spoke with the government officials in 2017, who acknowledged problems with the previous Internet law known as the ICT Act, and promised to implement safeguards. But media are still being targeted.
The ICT Act, which was essentially completely repackaged with a different name, now the Digital Security Act, and it is, if anything, being used and misused even more than we saw a few years ago.
Broadcasters say concerns over abuse of the law are justified.
Section 41 of this Act is very much one of a police state. If an officer believes any news report of mine or anyone can harm the state or be a security threat, then they can search and arrest the person without an arrest warrant.
Government officials says a committee has been formed to ensure the law is enforced correctly.
If anybody and everybody alleges a crime under the Digital Security Act, I am saying that immediately it will not be registered as a case. It will go to a cell where the allegations will be taken, examined, and after examining, if these allegations really formulate a case under the Digital Security Act, only then it will be registered as a case under the Digital Security Act.
The use of the act to harass journalists and the February death of journalist Mushtaq Ahmed, who was arrested under the terms of the act and died in prison, are believed to be behind the government's plans to make changes to the act, journalists say. Sanjana Feroz, VOA News, Washington.